Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Rowan J. Parker back after an extended sabbatical. Now the last time I was away for some time I asked this question, I said, did you miss me? And the response was, well, we missed you like an aperture in our proverbial craniums, i.e. a hole in the head. So hopefully it's a less traumatic experience this time, and I'll try and keep it together for a bit longer than I did last year. Now I'm sorry that sometimes my presence on YouTube is a little bit inconsistent, and that's just to do with the huge amount of work that I need to do. So for instance, last year I wrote a book for Yamaha that we use right across Europe. I was incredibly busy with my own projects, not to mention teaching and all the other things. So, as much as I want to do YouTube videos for you all and keep you interested and entertained, just sometimes there's just no time for it. It's a sad fact that I do actually need to work now and then and make a living. However, I'm going to have an effort to try and keep these going for some time at least, and we'll see how we get on in 2017. Right, now before we could dive into today's lesson, which is a little bit different from some of the other ones we've done before, I want to plug some products for you. If you want some Skype lessons, Skype guitar lessons, or music theory, or in fact I do keyboards too. Oh, I'm multi-talented today. You can hit me up on my website, which is www.rowanjparker.com, and there's a ton of stuff on that site. I've got a store, loads of products. You can buy my own course in the store, the Rockstar course, which covers guitar and drums and bass, and now keyboards, piano, we also have that. And there's a lot of other cool products there as well, especially going into shred. And this year, hopefully, we'll be adding some other products more about jazz and fusion. Certainly, that's the direction I'm going to be going in pretty much from now on, I think. So less shred and more of the old, the intellectual, interesting stuff, the stuff that I'm interested in, because I don't really show too much of that on the channel. And that's what we're going to do from now on. Anyway, enough of this waffling away. Let's get into today's lesson. Right, today's lesson is how to learn all 12 major scales effortlessly. Now what I mean by that is how to learn what notes these scales contain, because guitar players and to be honest musicians in general are just horrifically bad at knowing what notes are in what scales, and therefore they don't know what chords are in what keys, and it becomes very, very hard for them to figure things out. Now really, you want this knowledge to be so ingrained that it's what I describe as native knowledge. Now, native knowledge means that you just know something without having to think about it. It doesn't require an act of effort or recall, it's just there. So for instance, if I say to you, what notes are in B flat major, and you go, it's B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, and A. Now why is it that? Because it is. These are the notes in B flat major. And I'm going to show you a way of learning the notes in these scales that will really take very little effort, and if you spend 5 minutes a day doing the exercise I'm about to give you, then by the end of a week, you'll pretty much know what notes are in all your major scales. So this is actually a paper exercise. So we're going to need the pen of doom, or let's call it the pen of shred. We need the pen of shred, and we'll need the paper of bebop jazz. Okay, so grab yourself a pen and the paper, and then let's do this together. All right, so give you a moment to get the pen and paper. I'm waiting, I'm still waiting. I've waited long enough, I'm just going to do it. All right, okay, so now what we're going to do on our piece of paper, our lovely white piece of paper, is we're going to write out the simplest major scale, which is the C major scale, because that scale has no sharps and no flats. So let's just write that out. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, which is a 1 octave C major scale. Okay, right. Now in this first section, we're going to create what are called sharp scales, which is just major scales which contain sharps. So I'm going to show you a method or procedure of doing it so you can really figure out what they all are. It's very simple. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to count 5 notes up the scale, C, D, E, F, G. 5 notes up the scale, we will rewrite underneath our C scale, starting from the note of G. Now we've got the notes of G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now this is not a G major scale. To make it compliant with the major scale step pattern, we need to do one thing, which is we need to sharpen the new 7th degree. So the F needs to be sharpened to F sharp. Okay, right, so that's the basic rule. You go 5 notes up the scale, you rewrite the scale, and then you sharpen the new 7th degree. Okay, so you can see that's what we did. C, D, E, F, G, rewrite the scale, then sharpen the new 7th. F goes up to F sharp, which gives us a 1 octave G major scale, which is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Now, to get the next scale, all we need to do to the G major scale is what we did to the C major scale, and that will get us the next scale degree. So let's do that. Let's go up a fifth from G. G, A, B, C, D. D, right? So let's rewrite the scale from D. D, E, F sharp, because we need to retain any of the previous sharps, we'll be getting an additional sharp each time. G, A, B, C, D. Now we need to sharpen the new 7th degree, so that's D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. That needs to sharpen to C sharp. And that gives you the scale of D major, 2 sharps, okay? And then we just continue this procedure down and down and down, adding one more or additional sharp each time. So let's do that. Let's go up a fifth from D, D, E, F sharp, G, A. That's up a fifth. Rewrite. A, B, C sharp. Got to retain that C sharp. D, E, F sharp. And now we need to sharpen the new 7th, G sharp. And then we're back to A. Now, that gives us our 1 octave A major scale containing 3 sharps. So you see how very simple this is. It's incredibly simple. A very simple idea, but works tremendously well. So let's continue on again. Let's go up a fifth from A, B, C sharp, D, E. Rewrite from E, okay, which gives us E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. 4 sharps for E major. Okay, let's go up another fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes us to B, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, and now the A we must sharpen to A sharp. So we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharps in B major. Now, and finally, let's do one more. Let's go up a fifth from B, takes us to F sharp. There's F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, and then this weird one actually, we need to spell the 7th degree as E sharp. Now, you're probably thinking, whoa, E sharp, is that not just F? Surely if I go up 1 fret or 1 semitone from E, that is F. Well, the answer is yes, correct, but in this particular scale, we can't spell it that way. Major scales need to contain one of each letter and each degree. So we need to contain an F, a G, an A, a B, a C, a D, an E of some kind. So we can't reuse the same letter name. It's just not allowed. Because if we were to call the E sharp F, we'd be saying, in effect, our major scale of F sharp major has got 2 roots, F and F sharp, and no 7th degree. So obviously that's not allowed. So for what's called enharmonic spelling reasons, you must spell the scale this way. So you do come across these odd spellings from time to time in some of these extreme sharp and flat major scales, and also in other scales like, for instance, some harmonic minor scales. You might even come across double sharp and doubly flatted notes. It's possible. All right, now, so let's go back to our little chart. Now we've got all of the sharp keys down to F sharp. Now, the reason that we don't go beyond F sharp is because there's really no point in doing that, because as you see, when we do the flat keys, you'll be able to express that scale much easier as a flat. So for instance, we wouldn't do the scale of C sharp major because we would much easier to express that as D flat major, which would be the same scale. So why would you go with, say, 7 sharps when you could have 5 flats? That's that sort of thinking, right? Okay, now not quite finished with this. Now we've got all our sharp keys. We can plug in some formula so we can understand exactly what chords are in what keys. Another very important thing to know, what chords are in what keys. So here's the way it works. The first degree of every major scale is unsurprisingly a major chord. Pretty obvious. The first chord in the key of C major is in fact C major. It's not exactly rocket science. Flying to the moon is not rocket science. No, it is. Right, so first chord is major. The second chord in any major key is minor. And I've just completely messed up by writing diminished. How did that happen? Let's very elegantly score that out and pretend that never happened. And we'll write minor. My goodness me. And then the third chord in the key is also minor. So we've got major, minor, minor. And then the fourth degree is major, and the 5th degree is also major. The 6th degree is minor, and the 7th degree is diminished. And then we're back to major 1 octave higher. So how does this help as well? We want to know what chords are in any of these major keys. We just look at the notes in the scale and we plug in the chord formula. So you want to know what the chords are in E major? Super simple. It's E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished, and back to E major. You see, really simple. Let's also plug in expanded chord qualities. So let's do the 7th chord scale, harmonized to 7ths. If you're wondering what I'm going on about here, I suggest you check out one of my other music theory videos where we talk about harmonization. So anyway, the first chord in any major key, if it's harmonized to what's called 4-part harmony, which is 7th chords, is a major 7. So the 1 chord, the tonic chord, is a major 7. The 2 chord is a minor 7. The 3 chord is also a minor 7. The 4 chord is a major 7. The 5 chord is a dominant 7. The 6th chord is a minor 7. And the 7th chord is minor 7 flat 5, also known as aka half diminished. Okay, they're the same thing. And then we're back to major 7. Okay, so again, let's plug in the formula, take the notes of a scale and figure out what the 7th chords are. So let's just pick the key of D major. What are the 7th chords in the key of D major? Well, it's D major 7, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, G major 7, A dominant 7, B minor 7, and C sharp minor 7 flat 5. Those are the chords in the key of D. All right, so that's how it works for sharp keys. So let's crack on and do for you now flat keys, how to do flat keys. Righty, so this is what it should look like. Does your sheet look like my sheet? Well, hopefully it does without the mistake at the bottom. But it should look something like this, except I'm sure your script will be neater than mine because it's awful because I don't write anything anymore. Word process everything. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Okay, flat keys. So let's use the second piece of bebop jazz paper of doom and stick with a trusty pen of destiny. And let's do the flat keys. So what scale contains no flats? Well, pretty obvious. It's the same scale that contains no sharps. So it's C major. So we write out C major again. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right. So now for flat keys, the procedure is slightly different. What we do for flat keys is, instead of going up a 5th and sharpening the 7th, we go up a 4th and then flatten the new 4th. So up a 4th, C, D, E, F, rewrite the scale from F, which will be F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and F, and we flatten the 4th. So the B gets flattened to B flat. So F major contains 1 flat, which is B flat, 1 flat. Now we just do that again. So we go up a 4th and flatten the new 4th. So let's go up a 4th from F, F, G, A, B flat. Rewrite B flat, C, D, E, need to flatten that to E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. Okay, that's 2 flats. Let's do 3 flats now. So again, we go up a 4th, that will be E flat, F, G, flatten the new 4th, that'll be A flat, B flat, remembering to retain all the previous flats, C, D, and E flat. And then just continuing on, the next key will be A flat, that will be our 4 flats, will be A flat, B flat, C, D flat, remember to flatten the new 4th, E flat, F, G, and A flat. And then continuing on again, the key of D flat is D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, and C. Back to D flat, 1 octave higher. And now on to the very last key, which is G flat, with a whole block of flats. Ho ho. You'll only get that joke if you live in the UK. If you live in the US or anywhere else, you'll call it an apartment. But we call apartment flats, and we call lots of them. It'll be a block of flats. Well, never mind. It's a terrible joke anyway. So, G flat, A flat, and B flat. Now here's the weird one. C flat, D flat, E flat, and F. Back to G flat, 1 octave up. So in this key again, we have the enharmonic spelling of C flat, which is the note of B, but we can't call it B because we've already used that letter already in the scale. B flat's the 3rd of the scale. We can't reuse it, otherwise we'd have a scale with 2 different sorts of thirds, which is verboten. You can't do that. Right, so C flat in this key. Now the good news is that the chord qualities remain the same in flat keys. All right, so the order of the chords stays the same. First chord is major, second chord is minor, third chord is minor, fourth chord is major, major, minor, and then diminished, and then back to major, and again the sevenths are the same. Major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, and minor 7 flatted fifth, and then back to major 7. All right. Okay, so you see how that was done. So again, we can use this as a lookup table for chords and scales. Let's just say we want the scale of B flat major. What are the chords in B flat? Well, we'd have B flat major, C minor, D minor, E flat major, F major, G minor, and A diminished. Let's do the key of, say, A flat major in sevenths. We have A flat major 7, B flat minor 7, C minor 7, D flat major 7, E flat dominant 7, F minor 7, and G minor 7 flat 5, or half diminished. Okay, now you can clearly see the speed at which I'm rattling these off. I really know this stuff, and I really do. So how did I learn this stuff? Well, I'd learnt it exactly the way I'm showing you here. I used to write these scales out. I'd write scales out every day until I just ended up knowing exactly what notes were in scales without having to reference the instrument. So let me just make this point about it, why it's valuable to do it this way. The way that many guitar players will try and learn scales is really terribly inefficient and awful and terrible, because what they will do is, if I say to a student, often I'll say, well, what notes are in a D major scale? And what they'll do is they will grab their guitar like this, and they'll try and find the D major scale somewhere on the guitar, and they'll try and visualize the shape of the D major scale, and then they'll ask themselves, what notes are in this scale? This is a horrible way to do it. Oh, what note's that? Oh, it's a D. Ooh, huh? And this one's, what's that? It's an E. It's just a terrible way of trying to learn what notes are in what scales. This sort of knowledge should be what's called native knowledge. So you don't have to focus it through the lens of the instrument. You should be able to, by all means, take the knowledge and then transfer it onto the instrument. You need to be able to do that, but you can't be trying to get to the answer by trying to look through the instrument, because the lens of the instrument is really quite opaque, and you can't see things very clearly. Much better just to know. So I've really worked on that to try and learn what notes are in what scales and chords and so on, and it's helped me tremendously with musical literacy, and also, of course, to understand jazz and play over jazz. You need good, solid scale harmony, chord scale harmony understanding to be able to play jazz. Without it, you're really just guessing. All right, well, that'll do for this lesson. Don't forget to check out the website, and hit me up Skype lessons if you need some lessons. Music theory is my speciality, remember. So if you like this stuff and you want to learn more about the nuts and bolts of music, absolutely. This is the stuff that really interests me. This is the stuff that fires me up in the morning. I know, sad, isn't it? But there we go. All right, that'll do. And I'll see you next time for another of these little impromptu music theory lessons. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time. So it's Ryan J. Parker signing off. Farewell!